How do you reverse insulin resistance? How do you reverse type 2 diabetes? How do you reverse skin tags without going to the dermatologist? How are you going to deal with migraines? What about heart disease, cholesterol? What is the list that's kind of like that little octopus down there or squid or tree, whatever? This is all about how to do it. That's what we're going to focus on, is how to reverse insulin resistance. Welcome in. I'm Coach Ken, nutrition coach, the wellness preacher up here in Anchorage, Alaska. And we are here in the simplest way, no bones, making it as simple as possible, backed by science, backed by the research, backed with simple protocols that cut through the fluff, cut through the nonsense, and really delve on how does a simple protocol, a simple lifestyle actually reverse insulin resistance. And I can come in here and talk. I've done it. I've helped other people do it, and hundreds of thousands around the world are doing the very same thing. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are or where you're at on the journey, but each and every day you're coming into my live call where we focus on how to reverse insulin resistance, where we listen to some of the best doctors, best nutritionists, dietitians around the United States, around the world even, that are doing this very thing and helping people to do that. This is probably one of my favorite ones of all time. And if you watch me enough, you'll see this particular one on a very regular basis because it is so concise, so to the point, to help understand what's going on with insulin resistance. So without taking any more of the time, we're going to look at the very, very basics of the protocol, and from somebody, Dr. Kenny, who has reversed his insulin resistance, and what we can do, what you can do, and how I can help on this journey. So if you haven't made sure to like and subscribe, do that. Type in the comments who you are, where you came into today, where you're from. I'm Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska, and we're going to turn this over to Dr. Kenny as he starts to talk a little bit more about insulin resistance and what really is the root cause. How is insulin impacting so many of our conditions and health in this day and age?
Dr. Kenny, I'll let you take it from there.
Megan, thank you so much. And yes, as you said, I honestly wasn't looking for this, but I feel so blessed to get the opportunity to do this. And it changed my life. And I thought, my God, if it's changed my life, why would I not do the same for others? And a year and a half ago, I nearly died from the very thing that I'm going to be sharing with you. I spent almost 2 months of my life in the hospital, and it was a disaster. I mean, I had every sign of insulin resistance. I had belly fat that would not go away. It didn't matter how much I ran on a treadmill. It didn't matter how much I restricted my calories. I was developing skin tags. I had inflammation throughout my body. My right shoulder, I couldn't sleep on it. I pitched in high school and college. I'd always been very active. Megan, kind of like you and I had spoke about before. I mean, just nothing was working. My cholesterol was going up. I had sleep apnea. God bless my wife. I mean, she even recorded it to let me hear myself, right? That was terrible.
Totally.
I had high blood sugar and cravings, and just I was Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde all the time. And I didn't understand why. And I want to give everyone an example that I pray will make sense to you. But earlier this past year, we were able to celebrate our 20th anniversary. And we went out to eat, and we got an old fashioned to drink. And we don't drink any longer, but we did this night. Now, I bring this to your attention because if you've ever had alcohol,
great.
If you haven't, it won't make much sense. But if you have, it doesn't take much if you don't drink to feel the effects of it. Now, if we drank every day, we would need more of that thing to create the same effect. And many of us on here, I'm sure, have been told to eat every few hours to keep your metabolism elevated.
If that's you, type me.
And the problem with that is every time you eat food, your blood sugar will go up and, well, insulin will go up. Now, if you're a diabetic, you're going to inject insulin to bring it back down.
Right.
And the more frequently you do this, the more resistant that our cells become. Now, all of those warnings.
So there's the alcohol piece right there's the comparison. The more you need it, the more you have to have more of it to get the effects. It works with insulin as much as it works with alcohol. It works with antibiotics. Our bacteria becomes resistant to antibiotics. The same thing happens. Our bodies become resistant to the hormone insulin.
Signs on the right start popping up 15 years before we lose control of our blood sugar and they diagnose you with diabetes. Now, once the diabetic diagnosis occurs, you have no longer have blood sugar control, and your cardiovascular disease risk goes up 80%. Alzheimer's.
Okay, stop. Okay, so we're talking about diabetes and heart disease. Those are interconnected. Those are completely interconnected. If you've been diagnosed with diabetes or heart disease and you haven't been diagnosed with the other one, you just haven't been diagnosed yet. You just haven't been diagnosed yet. We're talking 80%. 80%. So we're talking about out of 10, 8 out of 10 people.
And dementia goes up 81%. They now call it diabetes type 3. It starts to show its face early on. You start to get brain fog and forget why you went in the room. Where are your car keys?
Right.
What am I doing with my kids? These are all warning signs of this. You start to develop this sugar because your insulin can't keep it under control in your joints. That's osteoarthritis. They tell you that it's old age. Your body's starting to pee more frequently to get rid of the sugar. It's stuffing it into your female parts. Ladies, you're getting polycystic ovarian syndrome like my wife had for 20 years. Neuropathy. I mean, I used to treat nearly 1,000 patients a week. If I told you how many cases of neuropathy, neuralgia, and sciatica that I took care of and migraine headaches, and I had no clue that it was insulin resistance. The reason I'm bringing this to your attention is because we have a huge problem. They're now finding non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in our 3-year-old children. Diabetes is out of control, and 1/3 of all teenagers in America have.
Okay, so 1/3 of teenagers are pre-diabetic is what he's talking about. That's the same with adults. And when we look at the statistics, and maybe this is you, most people don't even know they have pre-diabetes. 50% of our population in the US. And when we look around the world, it's not just the US. Worldwide, 50% of the population is either pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. That makes up the largest populations around the world. And I know the argument many times, well, what's the problem? They don't have that problem in China. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If you look at the statistics in China, it is the same. Well, they eat white rice all the time. Indeed, they do. Diabetes, type 2, pre-diabetes in China, it is impacting the same way. It is around the world. That is why the CDC says this is an epidemic. So we've got to reverse it. And if you're seeing the signs like you're looking on this video right up here, that's what
pre-diabetes. That's insulin resistance, bon voyage, coming into diabetes and obesity. So we have a huge problem. And when I saw that, I love to find solutions. And I went on a quest. And someone cared enough about me to share this with me. And when I saw this, it really honestly blew my mind. Our company that we've partnered with, and I feel so blessed to get to work with, they realized in the 80s that, well, the drug companies created a drug called a statin to bring down cholesterol. And they realized that what was causing this issue was ripping the fiber and taking it out of the food. Well, they thought, well, let's just put the fiber back in the food. And this is what they did. This is how it started. Now, there's over 24 clinical studies at places like BYU, UCLA, UNLV, Stanford, Cornell, just to name a few. The Cleveland Clinic, the #1 heart institute on the planet, why would they study fiber? We're going to talk about that. Now, these products are listed in the very book that doctors kind of use as their Bible, if you will. You can look up any medication, you can look up the side effects, and you can look up these nutraceuticals that I'm going to share with you that someone shared with me. Now, nutraceuticals means they're standardized. Physicians love this because they know batch per batch, box per box, what the person's getting. Though what they don't like with a supplement is, well, I mean, they don't know what's going to happen in each box or each batch. These are all third-party tested for herbicides and pesticides, mold, mildew, bacteria, and carcinogens, and they know dose per dose what they're getting. Now, these, because they're nutraceuticals and they're found in the PDR, you can actually use your HSA and FSA to purchase these. These also are found now in 64 countries around the world. They're patented, they can't be copied, and they work so effectively, we have so much research on them, that we guarantee them to anybody that uses them for 90 days. Now, here is where I was really excited. Not only are they in the PDR, not only do we guarantee them, but it's $5 and about 10 cents a day. It's less than a cup of coffee. And here's how the protocol works. It's a three-step process. The standard American wakes up and they eat break fast thanks to Kellogg's. The word break fast means breaking your fast.
Right.
And the last thing you want to do is consume refined carbohydrates where the fiber's stripped. Ask any diabetic, what are they told to drink when their blood sugar is too low? You can put that in the chat. And that's because there's no fiber in there. And the fiber keeps the blood sugar low. And if your blood sugar stays low, insulin stays low that you either make or you take. Now, what we teach and what we do with people is we give them this incredibly delicious willpower in a packet chlorogenic acid tea. This acts like a natural metformin and GLP-1, the shots that everybody's doing. This is willpower. It crushes food noise and keeps your blood sugar nice, low, and stable.
That's what
And
it's
when
talking about.
insulin is low, the fat's got to go. So for breakfast, you're burning your love handles for fuel instead of
Exactly
eating.
what I'm doing this
When
morning.
you get to lunch, if you're hungry, you eat your meal. This will spike your blood sugar and break fast. Now you're going to grab your second packet of willpower and you're going to mix that up in the bottle. It tells you exactly where to do this. You can make it hot, you can make it cold, and you sip on this between lunch and dinner. If you're anything like me, I used to have if there was food laying out, I had to eat it. I didn't understand that if it was just one pretzel, that was keeping my insulin levels elevated, and insulin is your insulating hormone. So I sip this tea till dinner. When I get to dinner, if that's my biggest meal, I'm going to use the fiber matrix, the most studied fiber on the planet. This right here is clinically proven to reduce your LDL. This is a natural statin. It brings down your triglycerides better than anything on the planet. It brings down the A1C triple better than metformin that has a black box warning. It also increases your good HDL and it suppresses your blood sugar spikes by 43%. Well, why is that important? If your blood sugar is lower by nearly half, would you have to inject more insulin or less? And that's the protocol. It's cost neutral and it pays for itself. And if you're saving money on this protocol, feel free to put dollar signs in the chat. Now, with this is supposed to be our competition. Well, look up statins and all the warning signs and side effects in the physician's desk reference, anything from coronary artery calcification to blindness to diabetes, increasing risk of diabetes in females in menopause by 50%, to neuropathy, neuralgia, cirrhosis of the liver, the list goes on and on. Also, low libido, low estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. I don't know many people that want to sign up for that, and they knew a different way. Also, metformin, that has a box warning. They used to call them black box. That means you can die from it. And Ozempic also has a black box warning. Well, this right here acts like Ozempic, and it acts like metformin, and this acts like a statin. And bariatric surgery, if people get so frustrated and don't know what to do and know they need to lose weight, when they have the surgery done, they're told to eat 5 to 6 meals a day. The problem is, even if you're eating smaller meals, every time you eat, your blood sugar goes up. Your insulin goes up. When insulin goes up, it tells your body to store fat for fuel. And when insulin's high, you cannot burn fat for fuel. And so this is why the weight comes back. So that's supposed to be our competition. Now, what I want to do is I want to highlight someone.
I'm going to take over. I want to highlight somebody a little bit different. So if you'll give me just a second, I'm going to pull that. I'm going to take a look at this. Hope you guys are doing great. I'm Coach Ken. Welcome in. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. Let me know where you're coming in from. We're talking about insulin resistance, the root cause of chronic disease. It really, I know that's kind of a generic statement, but the root cause. Now, we're not talking about communicable diseases. I want to make that really clear. I think that people get really confused when we start talking about disease. They're like, oh, we just take a pill for that. Well, that's one of the reasons why the medical profession is so enamored by the tests that get done, because we're focusing on looking at pills that we can write a prescription for. The problem with it is, such as in our, we can do lower LD, you can lower LDL with a pill, right? That's a statin medication. So that's what we test for. That's what the medical profession tests for over and over again. But The reality of it is what we need to be looking for is insulin. When insulin is high, the fat will defy. And when insulin is low, the fat will go. When we have that high insulin, it's leading to the inflammation. The body has become resistant to the inflammation. So we've got to adjust to that. We've got to address the issue. Now, if you've not ever talked to somebody about that has dealt with it or doesn't know about it, that is a very common thing because our medical profession doesn't talk about it. We don't talk about it. And yet, half of the population, roughly, is either pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. We're talking nearly 50% or more. 93% of us are metabolically not healthy. 93% of us are metabolically unhealthy. So think about it this way. When you're driving down the road and you pass 10 cars, that means 9 of the people driving those cars are sick. That's a lot of people. That is a whole lot of people, folks, right? You get what I'm talking about. That is not that when that many people are failing the class, we've got something going on that we've got to address. We've got to take care of this. This is a problem. Now, I've got some testimonials and I want to share a friend of mine, John, who has an incredible story that was diabetic, okay, and was completely blown away because his doctors never addressed it with him. He walked into the hospital because of other issues, and the doctor said, "Hey, dude, you're a diabetic." So I want you to hear it from John. I want you to hear it from me. I want you to hear it from John. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Let's hear it from John.
In my early 30s, I got diagnosed type 2 diabetic. I didn't think that I was. I worked 80 hours a week. I just thought I was always going to be tired. I wasn't feeling right. Went into the hospital, actually because Carrie made me go to the hospital. They asked me, "Mr. Cox, how long have you been diabetic?" And I said, "I'm not." And they said, "Well, with a blood sugar of 598 and an A1C, I don't think it would register, but they said it was a 16. They said, "How did you walk in here?" I spent a week at the hospital. They put me on 4 insulin shots per day. I asked, "Is there anything I can do not to take these?" And they said, "Nope, you're going to be on them forever," which was the biggest lie they could have told me. Long story short, with the insulin, I gained 80 pounds over 10 years. I had fatty liver. I was on 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol med, eventually developed diabetic retinopathy. I was faced with getting shots right before I started this protocol. But for about 3 years, I battled neuropathy terrible. I mean, it dictated my every thought. My monthly insulin cost was $1,300 a month until my deductible was made, not including the rest of the pills. In the course of that time, I took over 20,000 insulin shots.
20,000.
Becky calls. I finally look
Easy.
at it. Trent and Greg Six and Becky actually show me. And I thought, I have nothing to lose. I was on a path of an early death in 4 months. And I didn't lose any weight for the first month. I didn't realize it because my insulin was so high. I wasn't going to lose weight. But then I lost 35 pounds. And in 4 months, I got off 4 insulin shots per day, 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol. I got off all my neuropathy meds. When right before we went to Bangkok, I went and had my eyes checked. The doctor was so weirded out about it because she was looking at 18 months ago and she was scanning my eyes. She's like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Your prescription in both eyes improved. You were faced with going blind, and I've never seen you had been diabetic for a day, let alone 20 years. So now I'm down 57 pounds.
That is incredible. John's story, when you get to meet John, if you get that opportunity, is just absolutely amazing. I mean, here's a guy that has battled a chronic condition like diabetes for so very long, and he's not the only one. This is another friend of mine, Jim, that has gone through a similar transformation transformation and story.
I had at my peak a 12.2% A1C. When we discovered I was type 2 diabetic, my mother-in-law came over with her little glucose meter. I had a fasting glucose of like 470. It was absolutely through the roof. I started max dose of metformin, 2,000 milligrams a day. And then I was on a max dose of Trulicity. That's the GLP-1 that I was on. And then I was on 40 milligrams a day of rosuvastatin, because that's what you do. You have type 2 diabetes, you get on a statin. I started this in the beginning of January in 2023. I wasn't looking for this. I had a friend of mine that was talking about it, and she said, you should try this. A lot of people are reversing type 2 diabetes. I thought, you're smart. Don't say stupid things. You can't reverse
Right?
type 2 diabetes. Honestly, at that
Just-
time,
John, you just heard
Trulicity
Jim.
was on national back order. I didn't have a choice. I couldn't get my medication. And so I did start it out of trust. February 16th, I got a call from my endocrinologist saying that I could quit taking my medications altogether. My glucose numbers were in the norm. And then on April 20th, we tested my A1C and it was 5.2. In August, it was back down to 5.1. This is 2023. In October, I had it pulled again. So I've been unmedicated at that point for 20 months. It was 4.8. It just keeps going down. And you mentioned my triglycerides to HDL. I didn't know anything about that. But when they initially pulled my numbers, it was a 561 triglycerides and a 22 HDL. And so the ratio was 25.5. I spent 25 years getting sick. My message to everybody listening is, if somebody's telling you about this, you should try it.
So that's what I'm talking about. Is if you're listening and you're dealing with this, it is worth taking the time to try it. I was the same place. I can, if it's helpful, I can show you and share my pictures. I was in the same place. Of course, a little bit different. My story, because all of our healths are a little bit different, right? The fact of the matter is, if you're dealing with the chronic diseases, if it is impacting your life like this, you've got nothing to lose at this point. Now that's a couple of dudes. Let me share with you. This is Katie. Let me share with you Katie's story. Katie is pretty incredible story.
My name is Katie, and I struggled with prediabetes, weight gain, cholesterol, skin tox, PCOS, and so much more. I started the protocol, and it helped me not only lose over 90 pounds, but I reversed my prediabetes, lowering my A1C from 5.7 to 5.1. I've lowered my cholesterol with my triglycerides from over 200 to 53, and also raised my HDL from 49 to 65. And I also got off my metformin that I took for over 20 years. I am so grateful that I found this, because it is simple, it is effective, and it is doable. It has completely changed my life, and I am not stopping anytime soon.
So we've listened to a number of people that have been completely impacted by this, and it is a simple protocol. This is, particularly as a Gen X, I am sick of the diets. I am sick of all the advice. I'm sick of being not talked to as an adult by my doctors, my peers that wouldn't tell me the information. It was eat less, move more as a diabetic. And if you're sick and tired of that, if you're tired of being tired, if you've got responsibilities, you have a life to live, you don't need a whole bunch of other stuff thrown in the way. You're sitting there going, I've got a family, I've got work, I've got to take care of them, and all I'm doing is getting more medications. It's imagine what it's like, and you probably don't, that your feet are swollen, you're tired at the end of the day, you're always craving food, always struggling every single minute of the day, and what you're looking for is something that is no bones about it. You want it as simple as possible. That's what we do here at Healthy Together and Feeling Great. You can have the life that you want. You can have the health back that you want. Insulin resistance does not have to be a life sentence. Diabetes type 2 does not have to be a life sentence. Prediabetes doesn't have to be a life sentence. Heart disease does not have to be a lifetime sentence. Learning the simple practices, lifestyle of nutrition, and the protocol of the Feel Great system is a game changer. It did it for me. It completely changed my life. I'm gonna jump over here. Let me see if I can put this in the pictures down here below. I'm gonna jump over. We're gonna switch. I'm gonna take this one down and look at this. So when when it happened for me, all right, when my life changed, it was my wife who is a doctor, who we do the channel together, Dr. G and I. It is, let's see if we can get this to pull up. I'm going to share my slide and let's see if we can get this to pull up. If y'all are seeing that, let's see if I can get that to pop over. Oh, there we go. There I am. So I was 200 pounds. Okay. That's where I was weighing. I'm 5'6", was weighing in at 200 pounds. Now that that was 50 pounds over what my goal weight should be, what healthy was. That's when the doctor diagnosed me and said, hey, you are a diabetic. And what they told me was, hey, you need to go eat less and move more. Well, that was like the most unhelpful thing that they could have told me, right? I don't know why this is not showing this the way that I like. We're going to do it this way because it's not cooperating. There we go. So here's where I was at. You can see the inflammation. You can see that. And then you can look immediately to where my life changed, right? That's where I was at. My wife introduced me to the protocol. I watched her reverse neuropathy, fibromyalgia, lose weight, get energy. My wife is 4 years older than me. We're both widows. That's been our journey, right? So we have been on this and not getting the guidance and the help that we needed. By doing the protocol and learning this, becoming a nutrition coach is here to help people. I'm not a nutrition coach that's coming up with a bunch of bull crap, right? I've done this. I've lived this. Insulin resistance being a real condition is one that is the root of all of the chronic diseases that you and I are facing. All of these issues. We're talking about erectile dysfunction in men, guys. Who do you know that's dealing with that? PCOS in women. Number one reason why women are not able to get pregnant. High blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease. Still the number one killer in the US and growing around the world. High cholesterol. Now we're obsessed about cholesterol because you can take a medication for it. But here's the thing. Insulin resistance is the root cause. Insulin resistance is the root cause of all of these issues. Now, what that means is that in the normal body, our cells will receive insulin, will take the sugar that it's given, and will dump it right into the cell. The cell will use that for energy in our muscles throughout our body. When we are doing it correctly, when we are consuming so much sugar, then we have insulin resistance. The cells can't take anymore. They become resistant to the insulin. Now, you're probably going, well, Ken, I don't eat much sugar. Well, the problem with that is in truth, we do. We eat way more sugar than what we need to, right? We need to, I don't know why they did that. We regularly, here we go. Hold on a second. Get my slide back up again. Give me just a second. There we go. We have this dilemma that we have. We are eating. How many meals a day were you taught to eat? Was it 3? Was it 6? Most of us were taught somewhere in there. We eat from the moment we get up in the morning. We're consuming food. And you probably are waking up. Most of us do if you're testing your blood sugar and suddenly it spikes. You go, why is my blood sugar high? It's because the process of gluconeogenesis, your body is taking glucagon and cortisol and flooding your system with what you need, basically the sugar that you need, breaking your fast in a sense to give you energy to start the day. That's why you can get up in the morning after you've been sleeping all the time. The dawn phenomenon, that's the increase. It's a sugar dump to get you moving. You go, why is it so high? That's why. You don't need breakfast. You don't need Kellogg's. You don't need all of the carbohydrates. They're spiking your blood sugar, increasing the insulin. That's just making the problem even worse. Now, the other part of this, the other problem is right here. If we look at that apple, apple is packaged in pectin. When God created the world, he created a world that was full of carbohydrates, right? And the thing about it is all the ones that have sugar are packaged in fiber. Why? Because fiber is the carbohydrate that slows down blood sugar spikes. It slows down the digestion of our food. So when we take off the peel of that apple and we do apple juice, what are we getting? We're getting sugar water. When you go to the hospital, what is it that they give you if you have low blood sugar? You go to the emergency room, type in the comment. What do they give you? Rice is the same thing. And I know the comment is, well, they don't have this problem in China. Yes, they do. If you go look at the statistics of prediabetes and diabetes in China, in Asian countries where rice is a staple, the rates of diabetes and prediabetes match the United States. They match the Western world. Don't think for 1 minute because they're skinny, they don't have diabetes. It's not, and they're not insulin resistant. That's only one part of it. Metabolic syndrome has to do with waist circumference, your weight. It also has to do with high LDL. It has to do with low HDL. It has to do with blood pressure, and it has to do with blood sugar. You have any three of those, you have metabolic syndrome, and you are on the path to diabetes. And no one's talking about this. Our doctors are staying silent on it, and they're just happy to give the medications. Our modern diet dilemma, all day long, our blood sugar is shooting up and our insulin is on this roller coaster. You can almost imagine right there a roller coaster, a car on the tracks just going up and down. I know, I was there, right? Our food pyramid now, I know there's a lot of debate about it. I'm not going to sit there and go into how it is, but in truth, flipping that upside down has transformed and has the potential to transform how we address things. Because if we look at right over here, the bottom, what's the first thing? What's the first thing that they give you for free when you go to the Mexican restaurant? Type in the comment. What do they give you for free at the steakhouse? Type in the comment. The crazy part about it is, what does that do? It is a simple carbohydrate. Breads, rice, pastas, corn, potatoes all become sugar the moment your saliva, your salivary amylase begin to break that down. That's why you got to brush your teeth, because you're putting all that sugar right there. And all of that sugar is increasing your insulin resistance. So if you're wanting to address this, the protocol that we do is right down here, and it goes right along with the fact of the matter that when we eat in a certain order, it's going to help control your blood glucose levels. We're not doing a crazy diet. That's the best part about this. We're getting past the nonsense. That's what I did. That's what I coach people, is get past the nonsense. When we eat in a certain order, it helps to control your blood sugar levels. What is that order? The Ohio State: eat veggies and proteins first, carbs last. That's meal sequencing. We see the CDC even addresses this, that fiber is the carb that helps you manage diabetes. It's food. It is metabolic. Here's the thing that just, it blew me away. And it just is, it's so common sense, right? Metabolism is what your body does with food and drink. Metabolic syndrome is there because of what we eat and drink. We have that as an issue. So here's the order. If you'll remember these two things, and this is the protocol that makes it so much easier to do. This is the protocol that I do. I've been doing it going on almost 2 years now. My wife has been on it 2 years. I've met people that have been doing this for 30 years. Their health is primo. We're talking about baby boomers. Now, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm talking about baby boomers. So, and we're talking about addressing real issues. So what we're talking about here is fibrous veggies. We want to start there. Fiber first, proteins and healthy fats next, and we put carbs at the end of the meal. Now, I'm a redneck from down south. I like my fried chicken, my fried catfish, and don't get between me and my mama's banana pudding. And if you see, my wife, Dr. G, is from New Orleans. This is the season of Mardi Gras. We've had 2 king cakes in my house. And you know what didn't happen? I didn't gain weight. I didn't see my blood sugar spike. I got to enjoy them because I was metabolically flexible and because I eat in this order. And I use this protocol that has changed my life. That's key right there. Now, intermittent fasting is the second part, and I want to recommend. This is partly from the book. If you've never heard of Dr. Jason Fung, if you've heard of Dr. Jason Fung, type Fung in the comment section. If you've done intermittent fasting, The Complete Guide to Intermittent Fasting is an incredible book that I recommend. I recommend this book wholeheartedly. All right. Now, why is this important? Why don't I just do calorie restriction? Because calorie restriction is not the same. You will get into a calorie restriction, but what we're focusing on is the quality of the nutrition that we're having. We're eating whole, real foods. So if we look at that chart up at the top, that orange line is the drop in your insulin levels when intermittent fasting. The blue line is what happens when you do calorie restriction. Now, was watching a new video from Dr. Alex, great doctor, loving him over in the UK. They did a study in the UK here recently that he was talking about, where in this time period where we've said calories in, calories out, during this whole period where obesity has become an issue, diabetes has been an issue, that when it comes to weight and obesity, people have been gaining weight. People have been getting sicker, even though we've emphasized calories in, calories out, because it's not talking about the quality of the nutrition. It's not talking about the quality of the macros or the micros. We're eating foods that largely are causing problems, things in bags, boxes, and bottles with barcodes. Here's one of the examples. This right here I picked up in the store. This is supposedly for diabetics, right? It says it's sugar-free. When we look on the back label, polyglycidyl syrup. Well, this is a tip. Syrup is a code word for sugar. It's one of the names of sugar that the FDA allows, and there's over 200 of them. So when you see syrup, you're looking at a code word for sugar. So that is a huge thing. It is disrupting our insulin pathways and leading it to more weight loss. People are going, why am I not getting better? Because we've got all this, we've been convinced that somehow this is going to help us. This is convenient. And I'm going to tell you something that's more convenient right here in this protocol. This has been far more convenient for me to get my health back than anything else that I have ever done in my life. And it's been the game changer. Now, intermittent fasting. If you've done intermittent fasting, type IF. If you've done intermittent fasting, type if. If you've never, just type no. Just throw out the comment. Just let me know. And let me know where y'all are coming in from. I hadn't thrown that out for a while. I'm Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska, Coach Ken. One part of Healthy Together and Feeling Great, coaching and nutrition, helping people reverse insulin resistance. So we do a simple fasting protocol. Fasting for 16 and 8 is usually the easiest for most people. All right. That'll help bring things down. What that's going to do is to help you increase your fat burning. It's going to bring insulin down. 10 to 20 takes about 12 for insulin load. That's a huge part. So doing a 16 and 8, I'd like to do 18 and 6, or I do the warrior diet. And I like to do what's called, I call it 22 and 2. I've made up my own fasting protocol because I like to graze during that 2-hour period. So, and I do it later in the day. All right. So, these are just a couple of other tips if I can get it to work. Helping to reverse insulin resistance is you've got to start moving. Moving is key. I have 5 questions that I asked. How are you eating? How are you exercising? You got to start moving. You got to start moving. And this protocol fits right into that lifestyle. If you like to work out, you need a pre-workout drink. Unamate, the tea that I'm drinking, incredible workout. You want energy, natural caffeine, and theobromine. So you're not getting a spike that's crazy that you get with coffee or some of these crazy energy drinks. And it has theobromine in it. So it's a steady energy push like you get in dark chocolate. All right. So what are your extras? Well, I've been talking about that. All right. One of the extras, the medical community loves to do this, the pharma loop. One thing leads to another because of side effects. Now, that's all I'm going to say about this one. My wife does a much better job explaining this, but I talk just about a second. All right. So the solution here is the Feel Great system. This makes it so much easier, and because this is all food. Now, starting with the tea, this right here is a game changer. This crushes the food craving. The GLP-1 that everybody's on and everybody's excited about and is loaded with side effects, this right here crushes food cravings. So when you're doing intermittent fasting, this does that. The polyphenols in here helps as an antioxidant, helps when you're fighting infection, helps to clean out your liver, right? Works on all those aspects of our overall health, helps to control blood pressure. The chlorogenic acid works like metformin. The second part of the protocol is the fiber. We're putting it back in our food. Studied at the Cleveland Clinic, arguably the #1 heart hospital, works like a statin medication. That's what their studies and the research show. Is studied at the University of Sydney in Australia. Again, this works like metformin to lower blood sugar levels. So we add this into our habits of our day. The intermittent fasting, you see how the protocol works. It helps. There's over 20 clinical studies on this. It is HSA and FSA qualified. It's in your provider's digital reference. You can talk to your doctor about it. I suspect your doctor's not even been talked about it. How many of y'all know what the PDR.net is? If you know what the PDR.net is, type PDR in there. The provider's digital reference is the Bible that doctors use to prescribe. They can't possibly know all of the side effects of medications, but that book will show you. When my wife was diagnosed with prediabetes, she got on the phone, called a friend that was a nurse who was a diabetes educator, and told her it's in the PDR.net. So as a medical provider, my wife was like, well, okay, let me look into it a little bit. She looked at the bibliography there, the references. Look, the American Diabetes Association and the American Heart Association both have articles in there supporting what the fiber does. This is a 7 blend of fibers that we have eaten for centuries. This is not a one source fiber. It is soluble and insoluble fiber. And there is a 90-day money back guarantee with over 5 patents on this. All right. So those are some of the things. So who are you encouraging? Who are you encouraging? You can have everything in life that you want if you will only help others get what they want. I want to encourage you today to make a decision to start this change, to make a decision about your health. That's why I'm here. I did it. I was there. I jumped on this opportunity to get my health back. Having had a stroke in my optic nerve, being a cancer survivor. I'm a widower. I lost my first wife to colon cancer. If there's one thing that I want is to live my best life, and I want to encourage others to do the very same thing. That's what this is all about. And if you are looking, maybe you're on here looking and you're interested in saying, you know what? I don't just want to start the protocol. I want to help people too. I want to help people. If that's you and you're going, yes, I want to help people. There is an opportunity. Our business, Healthy Together and Feeling Great, is wanting more coaches. I want people that are willing to help other people. I want people that are ready to learn about nutrition, about learning how to do this. And if that's something you're interested in, there's an opportunity for you to join our team at Healthy Together and Feeling Great. You don't have to have a huge amount of education. We actually provide that. Every single week, we have science calls where you get an education. When you come on here, you see this very regularly. If you go through my channel, those science calls are right there. Some of the leading metabolic doctors of the world. We're talking about endocrinologists, neurologists. My wife is a dentist of learning this. So if you're looking for an opportunity to say, hey, I need to get out of what I'm doing, I'm looking for an opportunity to start in my own career, to get and to work and earn for myself, this is an incredible opportunity. You message me, all right? Reach out to me. Just type in the comments at some point, FGS, all right? Type in there. Start. I don't care what you do. Just type in the comment. If you're watching this, this is an opportunity for so many. These products and the products that we do and use are game changers completely. And yes, you get to receive a residual income. That's part of where it comes from. By coaching this and working with people on this, you see people's lives transformed and changed. If you've been on here, go back and watch the testimonies again. Those are real people. I'm a real person. This isn't AI. This is the reality of life. All right. This is our journey. This is our journey. From being diabetic, my wife was pre-diabetic, I was diabetic. Within 7 to 8 months, we lost the weight, reversed our diabetes, our blood work. The great part about this, our blood work reflects what this does. It's all right here. All right. Thank you so much for being here. If you've got any questions, just throw those in the comment. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. Tell me more about it. I am Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. And this has been our morning reversing insulin resistance, jumping in and throwing the science to you, letting you know how to do it, the lifestyle things, the tools that we use, that we coach on, and even the opportunity if you're looking to join in to something bigger. If you're looking to say, I need a career change, I want to help people, this is a space for that. We offer that. That opportunity is right here if you're interested. It has been a game changer for us. It has been a game changer. And getting to talk to people and help people, when you get the messages that people's blood work is better, when you get messages that people are happier, that they've lost the weight, that they have seen their lives transformed, that right there is one of the best things in the world. So, and if you're interested in ordering, it's that QR code right there. That takes you right to my shop, to our business, to our store. You click on that, and that's where you get the $70 discount. And when you start on subscription, and you do that for life, that's the same price that I pay every single month. The owner of the company, all right, this is not owned by a pharmaceutical company, will never be owned by a pharmaceutical company. Totally all made here in the U.S. There is in over 60 countries around the world with distribution centers everywhere. So if you're interested, that's how to get a hold of me as well. Once you do the order, you let me know, okay? Put a comment in the section at any point that you want to reach out to me. All my contact information is up on our webpage, and it will be in the comments down here in the description. If you will go to Healthy Together, AK, right here, you're on my channel. This isn't hard, folks. I mean, you're on here, you know how to navigate the internet. You got to this point. So if you are looking to get healthy, if you are looking for the opportunity, not just for something that's, blowing smoke, we're talking about real changes, real life, real time, real blood work. This is what it's about. All right. Thank y'all so much for being here. Go get the day, make it golden, go be excellent to one another, and go be excellent to yourself. Thank you so very much. I want to make sure there was no comments that got thrown out there. If I missed something, I apologize. I didn't see a lot today. Not a problem. But thank y'all so much.